Hey everyone, here we are yet again on the YouTube channel today with another senior based business. And of course, if you've watched the other videos I have on this channel, you know I never introduce my guest or say what they do. I leave that up to them. So if you'll go ahead and tell us your name and your business and what you do, we'll get started.
Yes, Stephen, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. My name is Chloe Roberts with Allied Senior Living Resources here in beautiful Utah. We offer placement services to seniors, if it be independent, assisted living, memory care, home care. We're a free advocacy service to seniors and their families as they consider assisted living or memory care. It can be very stressful and overwhelming and such a sensitive time for the family. And we help them through that whole process. I go and visit all the facilities regularly. I do all the legwork to make sure what facility is the best fit for them and which facility fits within their budget and takes care of them, has the resources to take care of the needs that the senior has. What we usually do is we talk to the family member and usually it's the adult child and to see like what criteria they need and we go to the facilities and we make sure we'll see who has openings and what fits their budget. And we go with the families. We go on the tours with them. Usually it's about three facilities or sometimes four. And usually there's one that's a standout that the family uh, thinks is going to be the best fit for mom or dad. We also help with if they could qualify for any benefits, such as the Veterans Aid and Attendance or like a new choice waiver. So, absolutely love what I do. And I love helping families in time of crisis because it usually is a time of crisis when they're looking for placement for their loved one. And I love working with people. And yeah, so that's what we do.
You mentioned the word advocacy is probably the first
Yes.
question I had. Tell me about that.
So I advocate for the families. I make sure, like, if they need real estate, I will set them up with Stephen, of course. If they need estate planning or some legal work, I'll help them find a good elderly law attorney. And I will, help them with benefits. I help walk them through the whole process. So yeah, so I sit with the family.
You talked about getting the family's input on where they're placed. How
Yeah.
many of your placements would you say the family is involved versus ones where maybe you're working with a senior that doesn't have family? Because I've kind of been involved in both on both sides of the coin.
Yeah. Usually I am working with one of an adult child that's helping with their loved one being placed.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious. So one of the things that is really interesting to me about placement services, and I try to describe this to people, is it's basically like a buyer's real estate agent, but for these 55 plus communities
Yes.
that are assisted living, independent living, and memory care. What do you think is a common misconception when people are looking into those types of communities that I would say, routinely have to somewhat myth bust? Like, one of the things I've had to myth bust is, oh, Medicare is going to pay for this. Well, they're not. What's something
Right.
that comes up a lot that's a misconception in your business?
A misconception. Well, first of all, I'm a free service, but how I do get paid is I get a referral fee from a facility that I place them in. But I had one person in particular said, "You're not going to refer him to a facility that you're going to get the best referral fee." And absolutely not. I'm gonna do what's best for your loved one and what fits your needs. It has nothing to do with how much I get paid. I do a lot of free service as well, like where I don't get paid anything.
Mhm.
So I'm absolutely there for the family.
Everyone's looking to get screwed somehow. It's really hard, I think, as senior professionals to
Mhm.
articulate to people, "We're not here to scam you."
No,
And
absolutely not.
one of the things I tell people is, like, are there people that take advantage of the elderly? Is there elder abuse, and are there scams? Absolutely. But it's a pretty small number when you look at the multitude of issues. The issue mostly that I think seniors and their families deal with is actually just incompetence.
Mhm.
People who don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah, and a lot of times the families don't know, and they don't know which facilities to go to and which ones are good, and that's what I'm here for because I go to the facilities, I talk with the residents there and the staff, and I know what would be the best fit for your loved one. You know, my competitors, they're not going to some of the big names. I won't name names, but they don't go to the facilities. They don't know where I do. I'm local. I'm here. I go to the facilities, and I know. And also too, when you're here in Utah, if the family member lives in Lehigh and they're going to be visiting their loved one in Lehigh, they want to be in Lehigh. They don't want to be in Salt Lake or somewhere else. They want to be close so that it's easy for them to go visit them regularly. They don't like to travel too far.
How do you normally find people that need this sort of service and help? I mean, is it just through, referrals, or do you do some marketing? Do you partner with like a doctor? How do you
Yeah, so I get referrals from different skilled nursing facilities, hospitals. A lot of my referrals also too is just word of mouth and just people. Some people I know, my neighbors. I helped my neighbor where I used to live, his father with home care. I helped my friend father. Right now, we're working with an assisted living, and so that so a lot of times it's just referral and word of mouth and just building a good reputation, and which I have. So
Yeah, I think that's what's interesting about this kind of the senior space is it is mostly word of mouth. It's one of the industries that still hasn't gotten into, and I think it'll stay this way, really do. I mean, there's some online stuff, but we're not just running Facebook ads and all this crazy stuff like some businesses. It's a very much a people business in the truest sense
yes.
where it's face to face. You know people, you connect with people.
I
Now I
actually
Yeah.
recently got a referral from somebody. I was at the AT&T store, and his grandfather, actually a veteran, needs help. And so I'm actually giving tours tomorrow morning. And that was
Yeah.
just someone I met at the AT&T store. You just never know who you're going to come in contact with and that needs help.
Yeah, it's still like a service. It's still an industry, placement services. It's kind of in its infancy, I would say. A lot of people don't know that it exists as a business, and
Yeah,
it's part of the reason. Like I'll interview more than one person, say in a certain industry, is because it's just more of just getting the idea of placement services into the general populace's mind.
yeah,
Because obviously on the real estate side, part of that benefits me. I'm very, probably I'm too transparent in a way on this YouTube channel, but it's just,
yeah.
for me,
That's good. I like
yeah,
transparency. I'm
it's
transparent as well.
what's frustrating to me sometimes is, people will move mom or dad into a place. They'll sell the home with, some random realtor, or they sold it to some random investor, and then they didn't get enough money, or there's all these issues. Or I had a call about basically cleaning out a house and such, and
Mhm.
they had sold the house 2 years ago, but it was just they did everything backwards. And I asked them some questions. They just like, "Oh, he's figured everything out." And I'm like, "Oh, this is why you're in
No,
the situation you're in." It's
no,
just it's kind of frustrating because then they think it's my responsibility to kind of fix their mess. And that's just like I'd rather families work with professionals in the first
at
place.
the beginning. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because a lot
Yeah,
of times
that's why I would definitely when it comes to I have a lot of friends that are realtors, but when I'm dealing specifically with a family member that's a senior, I would definitely refer you because there's a difference, because you know what their needs are and compared to somebody else. So that's definitely
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things you touched on this, and I'd love for you to talk about it is,
Mhm.
and sometimes things change and it just happens, but there's a lot of families, well, they'll just put mom into just, whatever assisted living, and it's a big problem in terms of money or the, services offered. I really have gotten to believe the placement agent can really, prevent a lot of that by actually getting them into a place that's gonna really work as opposed to, "Oh, we just picked a place." We
Right.
Googled it, here you go, and that's
Right,
a
and that's what happened with someone that I spoke to about a little bit earlier. It was a friend of mine that they placed their father somewhere, and the father was and it was for memory care, and the father was not happy, and wasn't a good spot. Whereas if she came to me at the beginning, I could have told her, "We're not placing dad there." And so then I ended up say, taking on it, and that we had hooked him up with home care and adult senior daycare for the day. In the meantime, until we find him, until they're ready to put him into another memory care
Yeah. Yeah.
facility.
Well, I mean, I've talked about placement services on the channel before, and we've kind of covered a lot of the services. What would you say is, but before we end up wrapping up, I'll probably have another question
Yeah.
too. But the question I have now is, what do you think makes you unique as a placement agent?
That I'm extremely hands-on. I'm local. I have empathy. I care about the families. I'm going to do what's best for the family and make sure mom or dad or grandma and grandpa is in the right hands. And I care. I really do care. So I would want to use me if I didn't know and I was placing my mom. And I'm at the age where my mom's in her 80s. My father has passed away, and my friends have parents that are needing to be placed or at that time. And I care and I love working with people. And that's why I would use me for sure.
Awesome. How can people find you online? What's the best way to find you and contact you?
The best way is to call me 801-865-1377, and also my website, allied senior living utah.com. You can
Awesome.
email me or call me, text me, and I'll get back to you.
Great. And are you on any social media platforms?
Well, Facebook.
Facebook? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Allied Senior Living Resources Utah on Facebook, and also Chloe Roberts on Facebook, Instagram.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it's good to know. Well, folks, if you have any thoughts or questions, of course, please comment below. Of course, like, share, and subscribe. And you heard how Chloe is online. If you have any questions or referrals for her, please reach out directly. Of course, that information will be in the description box below as well, so you didn't have to make notes with the post-it note or index card. Thanks so much for coming on. We're going to end up chatting after we hang up the call, but thanks so much for coming on the channel, and we'll see you next time. Okay.
Thank you.